From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you? What challenges did you run headfirst into? More importantly, though, what failures did you encounter? And most important of all, what lessons did you pull from that failure? Come on, go get your reward now. Now, if you're new here, my name is Chris Terrell, and I have lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting, up, down, down again, before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my lifestyle habits and routines, to my environment, to my social and cultural setting, and to my system of beliefs. And I have been keeping that weight off. And now I'm here every week, helping you make it to the end of your weight loss quest and hopefully beyond to whatever lays for you on the other side of it. There's so much waiting for you on the other side of the weight loss journey. I've been saying that for a while. And I actually stopped and asked myself, Chris, why do you say that to people? Like, so far, nobody's actually walked up to me and been like, hey, Chris, what are you talking about? You're saying on the other side of it, what is it? Like, no one's ever come and asked me, like, point blank. And I was like, well, maybe I should have an answer thought of at least once before that happens. And so I thought about it, and I realized what it was. I hope that you lose the weight so that you will learn that you will still be you on the other side of the weight. And whatever you thought losing weight would do to change you was not true. Because losing weight doesn't make you different. It just makes you smaller. However, the process of losing weight, well, that could change you. And in fact, it will change you. The act of getting to the end of losing weight, that journey that you go on, the journey will change you. You will happen to lose some weight, maybe. But what you're doing will change you because everything you do changes you. Everything you read changes you. Everything you try changes you. And sometimes it changes you in a not great way. Sometimes it changes you in a great way. Or maybe better yet, maybe it just changes you and we don't know if it's good or bad. We won't know for a while. There's lots of things in my life now that I look back on with such gratitude that I have gone through it, when I was in the moment, there was not any gratitude being felt. I was not happy about what I was going through. And yet I now can see how this unpleasant experience from my past serves me today, makes my life better for it having occurred. And maybe I just needed a little more time pass before I render a judgment on whether something that I'm going through is good or bad, helpful or unhelpful. Maybe it's just happening and I'm just going through it. And the whole point is to go through it. And the weight loss journey, what if losing weight is neither good nor bad? What if it's just something you want? You just want it for maybe reasons you know, maybe reasons you don't, but you just want it. And maybe some of your friends, they don't want to lose weight. They want to be how they are. They're fine with it. They're happy with the life they're living. That's fine. That's okay. But maybe you don't want it anymore. Maybe you just want something different. That's okay too. You know, maybe you and your spouse, you and your friend, the only way you spend time together is playing video games, or maybe it's watching TV. And you're just realizing, I'm a little bored. I want more in my life. I'm fine with video games. I'm fine with the TV shows. I'm fine hanging out with you. And this is how, for the last 5 years, we sit down and watch TV. I'm fine that that's how we bond. But I just want more. I just want more. And I just want it. And find yourself, if you're not, I found myself in this place. I wanted more and the people I was with didn't. They wanted the same. So what do? Do you stay the same with them? Or do you go for more? Knowing, though, that you might have to leave them behind. They might not get to come with you. This is what makes weight loss tricky, right? Is sometimes you got to leave someone behind that you weren't planning to leave behind. And that's okay. Sometimes, though, what'll happen is you'll pull away, though, and that person will notice your absence. They'll notice you're not there. And they'll notice every time you come back to visit with them and hang out with them in whatever way you do, you just seem happier. You just seem more at ease with yourself. You seem more pleased with yourself. Maybe they notice that. And then you go away, you come back and you hang out with them. You know, watch that TV show, play that video game. And they notice every time you come back, you just seem happier. Now, here's the unfortunate thing. Some people will react in a, not a great way, right? And some people will react in a great way. You know, some people, they'll see you being happier and it will remind them that they're not happy and that you were just like them, or maybe you were even worse off in their eyes. And them watching you get better is, to them, they go, well, this is making me feel bad because I could be, if you could do it, that means I could do it. And I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's just reminding them that they're not doing anything because they don't want it. I mean, sure, they might want what you have, what you're getting, but not really. If they wanted it, they'd do something about it. Humans go and do things about things they truly, deeply want, that they also happen to believe is possible. And so this person here, maybe they do want it, right? But they don't believe that they could do it. They look to you and go, well, I guess you're just better than me. That's why you can do it. Or maybe they look to you and they think you got some special thing. Or maybe they look to themselves and say, I didn't get the genetic lottery. I didn't win the genetic lottery. That's one way a person might feel. And your presence to them may actually become offensive. And that'll suck. But it doesn't have to happen that way. It might. But another way it might happen is they look at you, you go away, and you come back, and you seem happier. You go away, and you come back, and you just seem happier. And maybe instead of them turning inwardly and attacking themselves, they turn inwardly and go, do I want what they're showing me? You know, you were worse off than me weight-wise. You were 50 pounds heavier than me. Now I'm the big one. You don't seem miserable. You seem like you're enjoying it. In fact, you went out and got pizza with me last week. And you got a beer. And you just told me you just lost weight. I didn't know you could have pizza, a beer, and lose weight. I didn't think that was possible. Maybe they'll start thinking this stuff. They'll just start noticing, right? Because you're not making a big deal about it. You're not like, hey, look at me. I'm on a diet. Look how great I am. No, you're just living your best life. You're not hiding it, but you're not like rubbing their nose in it. You're just, hey, how are you? And they notice, right? You're shrinking. You're withering away in front of their eyes. They're like, you lost more weight? Yeah. And they're thinking, you were just eating with me at a restaurant yesterday. You're still losing weight? And you're not working out how is this possible? They may start questioning. And then one day, they just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I see that you're losing weight, but like, how are you having pizza and a beer and losing weight? And you see, your example just created an opening where now they might be like, I'd like some of what you have. And they come to you. Hey, you seem happier. Why? Maybe they'll say that. Now, they may not be quite so bold as that. I would be, but that's how I be. But maybe they might say something like, man, I'm really happy for you that you're doing well. Life's been tough for me. There's your opening. They're waiting for you to ask them a question. How are you? How you doing? You see, your example can create so many opportunities. Some of them aren't going to be great, but some are going to be great. But it's not up to you to pick. It's not up to you to pick. When you are successful on weight loss, it will impact those around you. Those closest to you will be impacted. They're gonna have an impact. And I know you want to just quietly lose weight and pretend as if this never happened, right? Like, you want the accolades, sure, because it does feel pretty great when somebody's like, wow, you look amazing. Because it's like, I haven't been told I look amazing in like ever. So this is pretty great. I'm digging this. So you think, oh, I'll lose more weight. So I get that feel-good compliment. But once you lose all the weight, you won't know when. You won't know when. But one day, you'll receive your last compliment for all the weight you lost. You'll receive your last congratulations. You'll receive your last wow, you're an inspiration. You'll receive your last acknowledgement of the fact that you lost weight, unless you bring it up. It'll be the last time. You won't know when. And it'll probably be something casual. Walking into the gym and somebody's like, hey, man, we were just talking about you the other day. Really? You were? Yeah. We were just commenting. You probably had one of the more drastic weight loss adventures probably anybody in town. Really? Yeah. Cool. That was my last. Because I discount the ones that come from social media. That's not my real life. Where I live, no one knows what I do for a living. I don't talk about it. I don't promote in my local town. Some people know, sure, but at the time when I got my last compliment, I was much smaller than I am now. And not in my size, but like my podcast, my social media, all that. People didn't know I was a weight loss coach even. And so that was my last one that I can recall. I cannot recall one after that where somebody said something about my weight loss and they were complimenting me about it. I just can't remember one. I didn't know when I heard that one it would be the last. Now, thankfully, it was a memorable one. I actually liked that one. That was kind of a fun one. But then it's gone. Then you're just another thin person in a sea of other thin people, just like a whole bunch of other different people. I was surprised how there for a little bit, I felt like a soldier without a country. I didn't feel like I was part of the obese, I used to call fat people community. When I was fat, I would just say, I'm part of the fat people. Like, that's what I said. But now I'm like, can I say that because I'm thin? Like, right? Like I have those thoughts in my head. I'm like, but wait, no, I have spent the overwhelming majority of my life fat. Like being thin is only a small percentage of the time by comparison. So it's like, that it's not what I am presently. Presently, I am thin. So this one somehow feels more important and bigger. But there for a minute, I didn't feel like the obese, overweight, whatever community anymore. No one was telling me about my weight, but I didn't feel like the thin one. I felt like an imposter. I didn't feel like I belonged. I felt like I was visiting Thinville, like I had visited it a handful of other times before. But as time progressed, I started feeling less and less and less like I was part of the big community and part of the small community, because what started happening is I started getting judgy looks from big people. Didn't know that was going to happen. I've been skinny shamed multiple times. I actually rarely got fat shamed. That actually didn't happen a ton. It happened some, but it wasn't a lot. I have been skinny shamed several times in just a handful of years. Like, to my face. And it's like, wow, didn't know I was going to be experiencing life from both ends of the spectrum. It completely recontextualizes things for me, because people, when they look at me, they don't know I was once big and that I was big for most of my adult life. They don't know that. They just assume I've always been small. For you, this is all waiting for you. This is all waiting for you. And many of us, when we started our journeys, whether it's the last one or an earlier one, somewhere we're chasing the accolades from the scale and the attaboys and the attagirls from others as a source of fuel, of motivation for us to keep taking care of ourselves and keep taking care of our body. And then you get to this place where now you've joined the rest of the people on this planet that actively take care of their bodies and have figured out a formula that works. You join those people. And then you get over there and you realize, wait a minute, all of y'all is just as miserable as the people in the big people community. Y'all ain't any happier. Y'all is just as miserable. Y'all have the same damn problems. You're worried about your bodies just like the big people are. It's just about different stuff. You're worried about your family just like the big people. You're worried about your money just like the big people. I just started realizing it wasn't any different over here. Life was the same. Turns out it gets shady on everybody. And when it rains on all of us. And it come to find out that, you know what? There were some great things about being big. It's nice never paying attention to food. I could eat whatever, whenever. I never had to think about it. But if I had to move, that was like a problem, Didn't have the endurance or the strength to really do much with a move. I'd get tired. And if I did, it'd be too sore. It'd be useless. Now it's like I can unload a whole moving truck by myself. Like, it's crazy. But like, I have to think about my food like all the time, like every day. It's not like all the time. I think about food from a different standpoint. There was this like, I just trade things. That whole thing of like, pick your hard. It's true. Like, I get to say that because I have done both. And they both have different sets of hards. So, okay, life's not any better when you're thin than when you're big. You're just in a thin body. Okay, so what's waiting for you? So I'm saying, what's waiting for you on the other side of the weight loss journey? You see, I once used to think, I'll be happy when I've lost all the weight. I'll be happy on the other side of this. But you see, I had lost weight several times, and I was just as unhappy at the end of it as when I started, because I just thought that I was going to be happier as I lost weight, that somehow the two were connected. You know, I've been getting less and less happy with life, with how it's working out, with my circumstances, with the state of my mind, with the kinds of conversations we have. I'm becoming less and less happy as I'm getting bigger. Maybe there's a correlation. There's not, but I didn't know that. And what I've realized now, I've learned it, and I'm learning it. It's losing weight won't fix your problems in life. It won't fix them. It won't. The things that aren't great will still not be great. The things that are good will still be good. The things you love about life, they'll still be there. The things you hate about life, they'll still be there too. Now, you might change your opinion, but they'll all still be there. The world will still be there. On the other side of the weight loss journey, we'll still be there. Wherever you go, there you'll be. No matter what you do, you'll be there. And you'll start to realize on your journey, I hope, at some point, that you got to do this for something other than just being happy. And that you don't have to wait around to be happy. You can just be happy. It may take time. I mean, if you're not happy now, you might have a bit of a journey to get back there. But what's on the other side of the weight loss journey? I don't know. I know that what's waiting for it is whatever you have been saying you'll get once you lose the weight. Or it'll be things you've been just wanting to work on, but compared to the weight loss, the weight loss seems easier, as impossible as the weight loss seems. For me, though, what was waiting on the other side of my journey was discovering peace. I lived my life not at peace, not at all at peace. If you'd have walked up to me and asked me, I would have lied to you, but not because I was trying to lie to you. That would have just been an unfortunate byproduct of me lying to myself. But me laying in my room alone, my bed, lights off, no one around, no one I have to pretend to be anything in front of, when I can just be me and with my mind, I wasn't at peace. I was a tortured soul. I was afraid to be left with my thoughts for too long. I didn't mind being left with them for a little bit, but too long, I didn't much like that. Because sometimes if I was left with my thoughts for too long, they'd start saying mean things. They'd start telling me how the world is and how I am and who I am and why I am. I mean, it's my mind. And my mind is pointing to sources of truth that it says are true. And this resulted in me not being happy, really. But really, it was me not being at peace with myself. And so on the other side of the journey for me, when the weight was gone and I wasn't at peace, but I realized finally that I wasn't at peace and I wanted it. Not I wanted to not be at peace. I wanted peace in my heart, in my mind. That's what I wanted. I wanted it. And so finally, I started going to those that seemed to be at peace and say, hey, you seem like you're doing pretty good. What are you doing? I'd like to have some of what you're having, because what I'm doing is not working. I get little bursts of better. I keep finding myself back where I started. I'm realizing my pursuit of peace is very much like my pursuit of weight loss. was trying to fix decades of torture and suffering at my own hands. I was trying to solve that in the short term. I was trying to solve it quick. I don't think that's working. Maybe I need a different approach. Maybe I should approach peace the same way I approach my weight loss. Slowly and with a why, and knowing what I want, and finding models to model after, where I don't just study what they do, I study how they think, to compare their thoughts to mine and find the differences, so I can look to myself as the one that should maybe do the evolving of thought. And I started finding the exercises to practice regularly by looking at not what the successful people do, but why they do it, which meant I had to ask a lot of questions, which meant I had to find a lot of areas in my mind where I would say, I don't know why this is here. I don't know why I do this. And I would have to keep asking questions until finally I would have my face rubbed in my ignorance to be like, I don't know this. Why don't I know this? What is the answer? No, let's ask a better question. How come I do this? How could I do something else? What would I rather do instead? And I learned on my weight loss, you don't set goals of X pounds by X date because you can't control that. Thankfully, that mindset transferred well because I don't know how you quantify peace. And somewhere on my weight loss journey, I realized I don't need to learn how to lose 50 pounds. I just need to learn how to lose 1 pound. And in fact, I don't even need to learn how to lose 1 pound. I just need to learn how to go through a 24-hour cycle and make choices I'm proud of. And in fact, I don't even have to do that. I just got to make the next choice. And in fact, I don't even have to do that. I just got to make being here work. Because right here is manageable. This moment, right now, I can manage pretty much through almost anything. So far I have. I don't know what the future is going to toss at me, but so far I've made it and I've gone through some tough shit. So I have good reason to believe I can handle what's happening here. And I usually can handle what's here and what's next. Past that, it gets iffy. Sometimes just that third step becomes overwhelming. And that's okay. I learned that on my weight loss. Just be here. Handle this and the next choice. Just stay here. Well, I discovered that translated to running. Just run the next step. Run the next 10 seconds. Okay, now run the next 10 seconds. Okay, now run the next 10 seconds. And then I realized with this journey of peace, I don't need to learn how to live a life of peace. I just need to learn how to live a day at peace with whatever happens in that day. And now I'm beginning to learn I don't have to make peace, become good at being at peace in a day. I just got to become good at being at peace with what's happening in the next little bit. But then I realized I don't even need to do that. I just need to learn how to be at peace right now with whatever's happening. Because if I can do that, if I can become proficient at being at peace now, regardless of what's happening, well, then I don't have any reason to worry about the future. If I can learn how to just decide if I'm hungry right now, and if I'm not, to just not eat, and if I am, to make a choice I'm proud of. If I can just learn to handle this choice in the next, and that's it, I don't got to worry about the future. Because if I can handle right now under any circumstance, I'll be fine. And just like on weight loss, I had to go through a lot of different kinds of nows. Some nows were at my office, that I was there every day. I got to practice that now a lot, like very quickly. Well, some nows, like I'm going to get lunch with a client. Well, I had to wait for those. And then the pandemic showed up a little bit into my journey, which only made it harder for me to get a sampling. So I didn't get a lot of practice with that. But all these different kinds of nows. Sometimes it's emotional nows. Like I am right now feeling angry, defiant, frustrated, rejected, unloved. I got to experience those nows when they show up, because they always show up. We all have these moments when an emotion shows up. Just sometimes you got to wait a while So sometimes you don't got to wait long at all. It depends on the emotion. It depends on your circumstances. But you get to practice not turning to food when that now shows up. And you know what? Sometimes you're not going to get it right. And that's okay. You learned something. That was a practice run. You got another one coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. It might be here tomorrow, might be here next year, might be here a minute from now, but it's coming. That next future is going to be now, here in a minute. What are you going to do when it's now? Future, you can't do anything. Because future you don't exist. Only now you does. You can't control future you. You can control now you. And that's just my journey to working on finding peace. I realized I have to practice being at peace through all the different kinds of nows. And some nows are really unpleasant. Some nows aren't fun. Some are hard. Some I really struggle to accept that they're happening. But as I become better at it, my future just gets a little bit brighter every time. Because every time I learn at peace through a hard time, my confidence in my future success is bolstered. And so as I experience success on my weight loss, finding a challenging situation like a vacation or a work trip or a lunch with a coworker or dinner with my mom or going on a date or going out with drinks. Whenever I would go through one of these things, it would typically mess me up. And I would come through it and I would be happy with what I did. My confidence would be bolstered because it's like, wait, I did it. I navigated that situation. And I know the situation will come up at some point again in the future, but now I'm pretty sure I can handle it. And as you do it again, you'll be like, I definitely got this, but let's do it again. And then as you do it again, you'll be like, I'm pretty sure I can do this. And then you do it again. And you're like, I can do this. You just need the reps. But some things take a while to come back around. Christmas only happens once a year, right? So you got 2 years to get 2 cycles in. And how many of you let this last one go by and you didn't practice anything? Nothing. That's okay. It's just, you're going to have to wait a whole year to try something different. A whole year. So let's make sure this upcoming one, regardless if the last one counted or not, let's make sure this upcoming one counts for something. But for me, on the other side of my journey, was a quest for peace. I'm still on it. I'm still searching, still working through it. But the slow and steady way is working. Just steadily chipping away, following the success principles. And every week, every month, I either make no progress or I make some progress. But I don't think I've ever gone backwards. And that's a win. As long as I didn't go backwards, I'm winning. I'm not trying to get to the finish line here. I'm not in a hurry because I now realize the journey is where all the fun is. It's where all the discovery is. And I know that as long as I move forward, I'll one day find the end of the story, find the end of the goal. And if there's still time in my life, I'll set another one. And that's okay. I got to do something to pass the time. I might as well do things that bring me joy and happiness and a life of peace. And that has been what is waiting for me on the other side of my weight loss journey. Because all that mental energy that was being devoted to managing my weight, I could redistribute it, redeploy it into a new part of working on me. Like a debt snowball, right? As you pay off more and more of the debts, you're able to pay off the later debts faster and faster and faster. It's sort of the same thing. As you conquer your weight, as you learn how to master the mechanics of managing your body weight, and it'll probably take a couple of years, but once you get to a place where it becomes much easier, much more unconscious, more automatic, you can take all that conscious thought and energy and will and desire and shift it to wherever you want. And you'll make even more progress on that than you've ever made before. And for me, I chose peace. I don't know what you'll choose. Some of you might choose your career. You might choose your family. You might choose joy. You might choose letting go of stress. You might choose financial security. I don't know. You'll choose something. You might even choose multiple somethings. That's what I did. There was enough mental brain power left over to distribute. And as you do it slowly, it's never quite too taxing because I'm always prioritizing sustainability over speed, always. What's the point of being in a hurry? I now realize. I know how this story ends. And so I can't take it with me. Might as well just enjoy myself as I go. Enjoy the journey. It's a lot of fun. I'll see all of you next week on the Chris Terrell Podcast.